For this video, we've returned to Orlando, Florida to feel the magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom. Rather than giving our usual tour of just one section of the park, I'll be breaking down and rating every wildlife-focused section in this Animal Kingdom based on these 5 categories. So that means no World of Avatar or Dinoland, although Dinoland does have a few creatures. I know that not every exhibit is created equally, but this is a good way to present everything in one video, and it might help you prioritize your visit if you're on a time crunch. But heads up, this is from the perspective of a zoo nut and not a Disney nut, so this will focus on the animals only. If you want all the tips, tricks, and know where to find all the hidden mix, the channel in that corner is for you. Disney's Animal Kingdom appropriately opened on Earth Day in 1998, becoming the 4th theme park built in the Walt Disney World Resort. There's over 580 acres for you to explore, and around 5,000 animals from 300 species for you to connect with, living in harmony in 5 of the park's 6 major themed zones. The very first is the Oasis. The perfect way to begin your magical safari. Even though it's right by hundreds of people working their way through the main gate, it's still just so peaceful compared to the rest of the park. And because it successfully pulls off the feel and look of an actual tropical forest, it's also the most shaded. The types of animals in the Oasis is very random, from anteaters to babirussas, wallabies, and so many waterfowl that I gave up counting how many there actually are. Because it's so lush and the rainforest species look right at home, it's really fun to try to spot them through all that vegetation, especially the muntjac. Overall, I would like to see more info on the signage and maybe some more space for a few of the residents, but it's still a great attraction to kickstart your day, so I will give the Oasis a 42 out of 50. As soon as you emerge from the rainforest, straight ahead is Animal Kingdom's version of Cinderella Castle, Discovery Island, and the Tree of Life. A 145-foot tall sculpture of a baobab tree with 8,000 branches, 102,000 artificial leaves, and 337 carvings of living and extinct animals. It's so detailed, you'll notice something new with every visit. Not only does the Tree of Life act as a perfect centerpiece, the base houses the 3D attraction called It's Tough to Be a Buck, based on, of course, A Bug's Life, although Zootopia is ready to take over that. The tree also acts as a backdrop to several habitats. There's kangaroos, lemurs, and flamingos near the front. The happiest otters in the world, because of course they're at Disney. And if you go right now, you might be able to catch baby tamarins. But don't forget, right across from the otters is Bruce, a massive but understandably overlooked Peroon shark catfish. Usually at 9:15, 10:15, and 11:15 a.m., you can turn your eyes to the sky for winged encounters, where 6 macaw species and sometimes other birds soar from another part of the park to the Tree of Life. Even though each presentation is short, it's always worth coming back to this spot to have a macaw zoom right past your face. To sum it up, Discovery Island gets a 47 out of 50. Personally, I always continue from the left side of the tree and cross the bridge over into Africa. And you might catch quite a few characters floating along the Discovery River, including the Mickey and Minnie. It was my very first time seeing them ever, and he did his best to compliment my Star Wars ears. So yeah, it's pretty tough to beat. Anyways, the bridge connects you to Harambee, the port of East Africa, home to many marketplaces, cafes, live entertainment, which can either come from you or actual professionals. And it has 3 animal attractions. You know how I said Oasis is the perfect way to start your day? Well, if you're not really into Lightning Lane and don't want to wait an hour to see animals, make sure Kilimanjaro Safaris is the very first thing you do as soon as the rope drops, because you cannot really see this attraction from anywhere else in the park. Your safari guide will take you through a wild 20-minute ride through 110 acres of the Harambee Wildlife Reserve. While it may seem like it's just themed after the savannah, you'll also drive through the tropical forest, dry woodlands, wetlands, and it ends with the Warden's Outpost. For all the photographers and videographers out there, the guides run on a tight schedule and have to be quick, so the only time that you'll actually stop is if an animal blocks the road, and if the lions are visible, but only for a few seconds. If you would like to view these animals for a much longer time, you can sign up for the 1-hour-long Caring for Giants tour that offers an inside look at one of the largest elephant complexes in the world. Or you can do the 3-hour-long Wild Africa Trek, a VIP expedition that gives you an even closer and wilder look of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Kilimanjaro Safaris is famous for its experience and its size, but mostly for its realism. You could argue that this is the most immersive zoo exhibit ever created, so you should not be surprised that I'm gonna give Kilimanjaro Safaris a perfect 50 out of 50. When you and your party are dropped off, you'll be invited to guide yourself through the equally as beautiful Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail, where two worlds become one family. Gorilla Falls is one of 2 exhibits in Animal Kingdom that openly makes you part of the story. The trail is a wildlife sanctuary overseen and studied by one Dr. Kalunda and their assistants from the Pangani Forest Conservation School. The colobus monkeys are in a rehabilitation center. The hippo exhibit is a dammed river where the team studies the hippo's underwater sounds. And the research center is filled with Dr. Kalunda's studies and their own living collection. Gorilla Falls has my all-time favorite meerkat habitat, my all-time favorite aviary, and I'm not afraid to say that it has the best gorilla habitat in the United States. Like you would expect something themed after a forest, it's heavily vegetated and also immersive. And even though I know it's part of the story, I think it would make this a perfect exhibit if maybe a few of the terrariums were a little larger. So Gorilla Falls will get a 49 out of 50. As soon as you're done with that trail, it'll be time to climb aboard the Wildlife Express that'll take us straight to Rafiki's Planet Watch. If I had to describe it in a few words, I'd say it's like an upgraded, more conservation-focused children's zoo. During the 7-minute train ride, you'll pass advertisements of Disney's current and upcoming wildlife-related media, and it's pretty much your only chance to get behind-the-scenes access free of charge. The Habitat Habit section encourages visitors to provide a welcoming habitat in your own backyard. And like nearly every children's zoo, it's very interactive. There's keeper presentations and a seemingly endless amount of reptiles and insects. And you can even get a front row seat of animal surgeries and procedures. But probably the most unique thing you'll ever find in any children's zoo-like exhibit is the animation experience, a free 25-minute class where you can bring your favorite characters to life through step-by-step instructions, no matter what your skill level is. So all in all, I'll give Rafiki's Planet Watch a 45 out of 50. Other than all of the signage, the music, and the architecture, you'll know that you've arrived in Asia when you see the peaks of Expedition Everest. If roller coasters are for some reason not your thing, then maybe a thrilling, rip-roaring raft ride through the jungle on Kali River Rapids is more your speed. If rides just overall aren't your thing, Asia still has 2 wildlife attractions, and they're both definitely must-sees. Feathered Friends in Flight is the GOAT of bird shows, probably of all animal shows, period. You'll laugh, you'll be entertained, you might even feel the breeze from a bird's flight, all while learning about the importance of our feathered friends. And it's even interactive. If you want to be a part of the show, I recommend taking a page out of Johnny's book and dress in a way that'll get the cast members' attentions. The main trail, however, is the Maharaja Jungle Trek, an exhibit that I personally believe doesn't get enough love. If you ask me, it's the most magical and mystical part of Animal Kingdom. It's your job to get lost in the former hunting grounds of Anandapur and walk amongst giant lizards, giant bats, tigers, buffalo, the few remaining lion-tailed macaques in the United States. And if you're lucky, you might even see a black buck. Maharaja Jungle Trek really goes all in on the story about the former Rajas that once ruled this forest. And I highly encourage you to ask a trail guide about the artwork and their backstories. MJT is pretty much the perfect balance of quality and theming. And you'd be right if you said this was the most thematic zoo exhibit in existence. My nitpicks are the same as the ones on Gorilla Falls, and I think it would be more appropriate to have the second tiger exhibit be a bit more on the lusher side. But overall, I will also give the Maharaja Jungle Trek a 49 out of 50. The last area that I want to talk about will not get a rating because it's also perfect, but it still needs to be mentioned. It actually isn't even in the park at all. I recommend at the end of your day, walking towards the buses and going to the stop that's labeled Animal Kingdom Lodge. 1.5 miles down the road is a hotel resort made specially for wildlife enthusiasts, with 4 main mixed species savannas that surround the property. Now imagine waking up in a hotel and there's literally a giraffe right outside your window. As you might expect, it's very pricey, and as much as I want to, I don't even think I'll ever stay here. But you don't need any sort of reservation to enjoy the wildlife amenities of the lodge, since there are footpaths that are open to all guests. And if you want to learn about the species and the individual animals themselves, like Gorilla Falls and Maharaja, there are trail guides stationed to answer all of your questions. And that will conclude this brief breakdown of Disney's Animal Kingdom and its major wildlife exhibits. It goes without saying that this place is much more than just a zoo. I don't mean to be cheesy, but you really can feel the magic and a connection to nature when you're here. I know that most people probably just visit this place because they're on a Disney World vacation and feel the need to hit up all 4 major parks. But if zoos are your greatest interests, I can tell you right now there's no problem just visiting Animal Kingdom like you're going to any other zoo. I'm a big fan of this place. In fact, it's in my top 5. I don't care how you find ways to come here if you haven't already. I think every animal enthusiast or wildlife explorer should experience Disney's Animal Kingdom at least once in their life. Or of course, you can just watch my tours. So, please stay tuned, stay wild, and have a magical day.